Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Flag Captured Gaming, and for this video I'm just going to give you my final thoughts kind of slash review of the Halo 5 beta. I know it's a little bit late here since the beta ended a few weeks ago. I've just been kind of busy and I didn't get around to compiling this video, but we're going to try to get it all wrapped up into one. We're going to talk about the gameplay, the weapons, the maps a little bit, you know, kind of just a little bit of everything all smashed into one video. So the first thing I want to talk about is the gameplay. A lot of people that didn't play it are curious if it actually feels like Halo. I know a lot of people are saying that it doesn't feel like Halo, but from what I can tell, more people are saying that it does, and I have to say I agree with them. To me, it feels like the Halo that should have always been Halo. And that's not to say that each individual Halo along the way needed to be different. Those all felt good to me. They all felt the way they should. This feels like how I wanted it to feel from the beginning. It's just like, for me, I always felt like the Spartans, while the slow gameplay did make Halo unique, it kind of took away from being a super soldier. You know, you weren't able to run for the longest time, and a lot of people don't like sprint. Personally, I think the sprint and all the movement and everything, that's pretty elemental to being a super soldier, so I'm okay with it. And I think the boosters, the thrusters, whatever you want to call them, and the clambering up onto the platforms, it feels natural. It doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel like any other games. People are saying it feels like Call of Duty. I don't think so. I think it feels natural, and it doesn't take away from the Halo gameplay. It still feels exactly like Halo, just Halo the way it should have always been, kind of thing. And of course, people are going to have different opinions on this than me. Obviously, this is just my thought process. But to me, it feels exactly the way I wanted it to feel. It feels great. I'm happy with it. I even like the stabilizers. A lot of people are turning those off so they can be more MLG. I like them. I like to use those as part of my strategy. So I'm good with it. As far as the gameplay goes, of course, we only mostly got the Team Slayer, and then we also got the Breakout. I'm not going to really talk about Breakout because it's kind of a unique thing, and it's going to be unique to the people that play it. It's a very kind of subjective thing, depending on your teammate and the other team. But the standard Slayer, that's what we got, the 4v4. I liked it, and I think it seems more so than any of the other Halo games focused toward teamwork. You can't really split up unless your team is a whole bunch of really good people and the other team is pretty crappy. It doesn't really feel like you're going to be able to split up too much and just go lone wolf it and hope that you contribute to the team. In my experience, even when my team was pretty solid, if the other team had any ability at all, we really needed to work together and maintain our communication in order to be an effective team. And it worked really well when we did, and when we didn't, it was very hit or miss. So it feels very team-oriented, and I really liked that. And that was mostly before the switch to the BR starts. And that's a really touchy subject for me. I know a lot of people said BR starts are necessary. For me, I don't think any of these maps that we got in the beta are actually big enough to warrant the BR starts. And we'll get to that when we get into the weapons portion of this. But before we get into the weapons portion, I want to talk about the maps a little bit. None in particular, just kind of overall. All of them felt weird at first. It just took a little bit of getting used to, and then they felt fine. You know, you get used to the map, you orient yourself. Really no problem there. Even the secondary maps that we got, those felt really weird at first, but I even ended up liking those toward the end. The only thing I really noticed as being a problem is some areas on various maps make it very hard to see the opposing team, sometimes red, sometimes blue. But that was kind of, like I said in the other thing, hit or miss depending on the map and depending on the area. The only thing that was uniform that I noticed was playing on, what was it called? The dark one. I'll put the name up on the screen since I can't think of it offhand. Playing on that, it was really hard to see the blue guys. Really hard. So that's something I think they need to try to adjust. But other than that, I think I got used to all the maps pretty well. Except for the Forge maps. I didn't like those very much at all. I thought they felt very, I don't know, it just felt off. They didn't have the flow that I was hoping for. But otherwise, the maps are good. Tons of detail. I like the clambering aspects. I like the sight lines and all that kind of stuff. So I was pretty happy with the maps. that outside one is a little hard to get your bearings sometimes and to figure out where the enemies are because there's 15 different levels to it. But otherwise, it's no real big deals. I thought everything was pretty good. Alright, so let's get into the weapons. Of course, some of our classic weapons are significantly different. I'm not going to talk about the pistol too much. It's effective now, but it's still primarily a secondary weapon, especially if you have BR starts. So it's not that important. But the AR is significantly different, especially with the aim down sights. I feel like the AR is finally useful. It's definitely a potent weapon now. Mostly if you're actually aiming down the sights and aiming at the head. It's not so much as it used to be that you could just aim at the person and hopefully get enough body shots to kill them. The headshots didn't make as much of a difference in the past. In this game, they do. And aiming down the sights is a key factor in that. So if you can aim down the sights and aim at the head, you're going to find the AR to be a very useful weapon. And I really enjoyed using the AR prior to the BR starts. It was a really good mid-range weapon, I think. And of course then we have the SMG, which was closer range weapon. But if you use the scope on that thing, the little sight, it's actually up to pretty good mid-range also. And I just loved the SMG in this game. It was so much fun to use. It feels powerful. Again though, you better aim for the head if the other person's competent at all, or you're not going to be that effective. But using the SMG combined with the AR or the pistol made a very nice combination for team play if you guys are holding an area like the sniper spawn or something. Very nice. I really enjoyed that, again, prior to the BR starts. So let's talk about the BR, DMR, and the light rifle quickly. The BR is the medium range of the bunch. Medium to close range, I would say. Not close, but you could use it if you had to up close. The DMR definitely meant for medium to medium long range. I wouldn't choose it for close range, but it is effective if you're good enough.
Energy source ready.
And then the light rifle, I definitely wouldn't recommend that for close range. It's almost like a light sniper rifle now, and light as in not heavy duty. It's really powerful if you scope in. It's just kind of slow and clunky feeling if you're close range, so definitely long range. They all have their uses though, so I think having them scattered around the map as we started with was a very nice way to keep people moving around. It kept the teams using multiple weapons. It wasn't just everybody starting with BRs and then chucking grenades a million times a minute. Having to run up with the SMG and the AR and the pistol combined with somebody standing back using the BR for support. It felt fun. It was kind of strategic. And then when they put the BR starts in, and we'll talk about the grenades in a minute, people just started throwing grenades from distance and trying to get headshots after the grenades popped their shields. And it took a lot of the fun out of it for me. It was kind of made the game less strategic, and I didn't care for that too much. And I heard that from a lot of other people. So you guys can let me know what you think in the comment section below. But yeah, for me, the grenades being so overpowered, they're not quite as bad as the Halo Reach Beta tactical nuke grenades that we had, but they feel way too strong for being as many as there are on the maps. Especially with the BR starts, you just end up getting grenade kills as soon as you spawn, like so many times. It kind of took a lot of the fun out of it once people weren't getting in close and being a little more careful with their grenades. So I don't know, I think the grenades need to be nerfed, and I don't think on these medium to small range or close range maps, I don't think we really need the BR starts, especially with the buffs that we got with the AR and the SMG. Alright, so let's talk about the swords. I've heard people say that the two different swords, the Prophet's Bane and then the regular blue energy sword or plasma sword, that they're different. I couldn't figure out the difference, not practically speaking. The sprinting with the sword didn't feel any faster with the other one. The lunge didn't seem any farther. But they both felt very effective. I have to say, I thought at first I wasn't going to like the energy sword, so I didn't use it even for a little while. But once I got the feel of it, that thing is mighty powerful. It's very effective. I think you get 10 kills with it before it runs out. And if you hold the aim down sights button, you can lock on at a much farther range and then do a much longer lunge, which makes it very potent, very effective. You just have to be careful. Sometimes if the person's not quite on the exact same plane as you, you'll go over them or under them and just kind of float there. Maybe that was just because they had the thrusters on. But yeah, you will use the thrusters, the stabilizers, if you do that mid-jump, so you have to be careful. But still, once you get the handle on it, man, you could just run around the maps using the sword pretty effectively. But I don't feel like it was overpowered, because if the person you're going against, if you weren't sneaking up on them, they could take you out pretty easily. So you have to use some skill still, so I really like that. The rocket launcher, not talking about the ugly redesign, which I don't care that much. I do like the classic Spanker rocket launcher look, but it's not that big of a deal. It feels a little bit slower. Not quite as fun. It feels like maybe it's stronger, but the splash damage is down a little bit. Of course, I don't have the empirical data to confirm that or not, but I don't know. I didn't enjoy the rockets as much as I thought I would. Maybe that's because I mostly played with them on the Forge maps, so I don't know. I didn't get a chance to really feel them in standard gameplay. But I didn't tend to go for them if for any other reason than to keep the other team from having them. I didn't really enjoy using the rockets that much, and you don't get to hold very many either. The Hydra is a very interesting weapon. I didn't realize until just recently that once you lock on, you could really aim in a pretty good distance away to curve the shot. I was doing that a little bit, but apparently you can do it really far. But if you use it effectively, properly, it can be pretty effective. It's not quite as powerful as I was hoping it would be, but you do get a whole bunch of ammo, so at first it's going to feel like a really lousy weapon, but once you get the hang of it again, I think people are going to like it. It's definitely not one to use close range, and since it does take up to 2 shots, mostly 2 shots to kill somebody, it's kind of a support weapon even though it's a power weapon. It's not like people controlled the map using the Hydra. In fact, the people died so often using the Hydra, and the weapon spawns were so often, that you could just often find Hydra ammo laying around the map. So I don't know if that's a little telling of how effective it is or not, but it's fun to use once you get the hang of it. I don't know if it's as strong as it should be, but it's kind of a cool idea for the weapon, especially once you realize how much you can actually curve those bullets. It's kind of cool. Let's talk about the sniper. The sniper is a little bit different. Now you only get the 1 click for the zoom, so it's definitely going to change the way people can play with it a little bit, and I think, I don't know if I like it or not. In some situations I like it because you don't have to hold in the thumbstick to let the zoom release. If you want to just do a quick zoom type thing, you can just click it again, but then you also don't quite have the versatility, so that's interesting. I'd like to see how that plays out on some larger maps. And then it is a little bit slower, so using it to no-scope, which I'm not a person that's particularly fond of running around with a sniper and trying to no-scope people. A sniper is meant for long-range fighting, so I prefer it like that, and I think it's okay for that. It's definitely not as ideal for no-scoping as before, but I do like it. I think it'll be interesting to see how it plays on the larger maps. So that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about for the weapons. I do think the grenades need to be buffed, or nerfed, I mean, I'm sorry, they're too buffed. And I think we need to not have BR starts on medium to small maps. Just my personal opinion. Now, kind of in the same realm of weapons, I want to talk about the armor abilities. The Spartan Charge, which looks awesome, that's when you're sprinting, and once you hit full velocity, you are able to ram your shoulder into an opponent. Which sounds cool in theory, but unless they have no shields, you will die if the person is aware of what's going on at all. Because you cannot kill somebody using a Spartan Charge unless you hit them from behind. And if you don't, they will shoot you enough as you're coming in to kill you by the time you're done doing your animation. So more often than not, anybody doing a Spartan Charge dies, unless their teammates or you somehow happen to, before you started running, and dropped the enemy shields. The Spartan Charge is pretty ineffective. I guess it's best used as a flanking tool, so that once the people are already weak, you can run in and get them. But more often than not, you just end up dead. I'm not just saying that because I couldn't figure it out. Even after I figured out how it all worked, everybody that used it ended up dead. If someone did it to me, I killed them. If I did it to them, they killed me. It's fun to do, but you end up dead. So I would like to see that tweaked a little bit. The ground pound, or whatever the official name for that is, really cool, really effective if you land on the person. Even if you don't, you're not quite as vulnerable as with the Spartan charge. So I think that's a pretty good the way it is. It's fun to do, it looks cool, it's effective. There's a little bit of a radial effect, a blast and damage area, so I like it a lot. Some of the maps don't quite have as much verticality as you need to use that effectively, but I think it was good enough on those small range maps, and I enjoyed using it. I liked it a lot, and it's fun to do, so that's cool. And then lastly, for the abilities that I want to talk about, is the slide. That's basically where you're sprinting and you click the crouch button and you just go into a sliding crouch. A lot of people try to use that to sprint at somebody and slide in so that they don't take any damage, and then they can get the drop on you right in front of you. Every time they did that, they died, as far as I could tell. I didn't find myself using it to get into cover. I would just run to the cover and crouch. It's effectively the same thing as running and crouching. If you're getting shot at and you slide, it doesn't really help you, so it's a cool idea, but I'm not sure if it's actually effective or not. I didn't really see anybody use it to any great effect, so it's fine that it's in there. It doesn't really change anything. So that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about in detail. I'll just go over my final thoughts, and then I guess we'll see what happens as the game comes closer. We'll see what we find out about it, and we'll see how it actually turns out. But I'm definitely hopeful. I really enjoyed the beta until the BR starts came out, and I felt just kind of like everybody was just spamming grenades too much. But prior to that, I really enjoyed it. I clocked in, like, I want to say 2 days worth of gameplay, literally, in terms of hours. In the first week and a half, maybe, first 2 weeks, I put a lot of time into that beta, and I enjoyed all of it. Even when I was losing, even when I was by myself, not playing as a team, it was a lot of fun. So I think that this is definitely shaping up to be, if not the best Halo, one of the best Halos, at least in the multiplayer realm that we've gotten. So I'm really excited, and I think you guys should be excited too. There's a lot of fun coming our way if things are even remotely close to what we saw in the beta. Halo 5 is going to have a really nice multiplayer. Now I just hope the campaign is up to snuff with the multiplayer, and we will be all set. So thanks for watching all these videos, guys, and thanks for staying through to the end of this video. I appreciate it, and I hope you found it interesting, and I'd like to hear your comments if you played the beta in the comment section below, and even if you didn't, I'd like to hear what you think based on what you've heard and what you've seen and that kind of stuff. So thanks for all that, guys, and make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can see more videos like this and other fun stuff. And in the meantime, keep playing.